Alright, so for the next part, what we're going to be doing is fitting up where the grill is going to be sitting. I already cut out the pieces that are going to fit right in here for the main chamber and for the firebox. What I want to do is I want to go about 1/8 down from where this door is, because that grill is going to be about 1/8 to 3/16 thick. It's going to be a custom grill cut out specifically for this, for the American Valor. So right now we're just going to fit up these angle iron. I'm going to fit up this side first, level it off, tack it down. Then I'm going to transfer level it to this side, make my mark, level it out, tack that down. I'm going to do the same for the firebox. So once those are done, I'll come back through, and I like to put a brace going across. You know, I'd like to do one here, probably one here, and probably one here. I hate it when, you know, some builders don't put a brace going across. Then over time your grill starts to sink into the pit, and it just, I don't like it. So let me go ahead and get started on this both, and once I get done with that, we'll go from there. So I got these sides put in already, one here, one here. I always wait until I get the custom grill in, because I don't want to automatically put it here and then I'm going to have a small cut next to it, because you have to cut the grill to be able to fit it in here. Because I like for it to be able to be removed. I don't like grills that just stay in. So I always wait to get the grill in, because I don't want to make a cut right down the middle of the design. So once it gets in, we'll decide we're going to put our cut. That's all I did was notch these out. They sit under here and sit flush. But then at that point, I can put this where I need to make that cut for the grill to fit. And the same thing here. These are in. I'm just waiting to get that grill in to see where the design's going to be, and then we'll go from there. Moving on to the smokestack. This is what it ends up looking like. I put it in here. I already marked it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it out, leave this back section off, obviously, and I'm going to make my cut all the way around this side and a vertical cut here down on the square tubing to allow the best airflow possible. But that is what it'll look like once it's done. I'm not worried about the top yet because I'm going to have to trim it. But again, I'm waiting to get the design in that I have picked out for the top so I can know how much to cut off. It's kind of hard to see in there because it's kind of dark, but this whole section right here will be cut out. So let me go ahead and work on that and get that welded up, and then I'll show you the final product. All right, so I got it all cleaned up. It's all ground smooth. I already hit it with that flapper wheel, rounded off the edges. There's the MIG weld. If you do it right, MIG comes out very, very clean. Looks nice. It's a lot faster too than stick. But that's all cleaned up. This is what the inside looks like once you remove that front end. And I'll come back through later, and before I paint it and stuff, I clean all this out. I clean the inside out. And I did add the rack for that second shelf. Key to this is make sure it is the same distance on the front end and on the back. Because if not, it'll get into a kink or a bind on you, and you're going to be fighting that sliding in and out. So I know some people like to do the same distance from here to here and then the same distance on the back end here to here, but a lot of times it's not a perfect world, so it might be kicked over one way or the other. So that's fine if you do it on one end like I did. I went, I think 3 and 5/16 in, and then I measured this way and put this side in. I ended up making the half grill already. I didn't record it, it's just 45-degree cuts is all it was. Welded it out, and I put a piece of angle iron on the bottom to have, so you can grab it. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna have a custom grill cut out just for this. It'll have a saying on there. So once I get that grill in, I'll go ahead and weld that to that frame. So today we're gonna be doing the doors on the main chamber and the firebox. What I do, so I'm not fighting with it so much, I just put a stopper on each side, and I put a stopper on the front, so that way when you slide this over, it just sits right where you want it. You can still have, you have a little bit of room in it to play, to move it around, to adjust it. Because if you don't have these stoppers, it'll want to fall through and you end up fighting it quite a bit. So it's easier for me to just put some stoppers. I do make my own hinges. I used to use the bullet hinges, which they do work fine, but talking with people, over time, those bullet hinges, they end up seizing up on people. And when I make stuff, I want to make it to last. I don't want to burden anybody with a door that doesn't open right, because that's just the worst. So I started making my own. Fairly easy. This is 1/2-inch round stock. And this is 1/2-inch pipe, schedule 80, I believe is what it is. But you have to be careful on the inside. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. You can see there, it's where the pipe was fused together. See that? And it can get caught up on the inside. So what I do is I clean it out. Grind it smooth on the inside, so nothing has a chance of getting caught up. And then also I put a small spot of grease in here just to lubricate it. Makes the doors work a lot better. Less chance of it getting into a bind. But that's what we're going to be working on today. So let's go ahead and get started. up welding out the, as you saw before, welding out the sleeves. What I did end up doing is going back, heating up, because if you see in the other video where I was welding out these were sticking straight up. So you have to heat them up and form them down just so you have more contact here in this area. That way you'll have a better weld. It just looks better when you heat them up, form them over. It's all tacked up. I already went through and put a little bit of grease on the back end around the actual round bar. And two things that's going to do. One, it's obviously going to lubricate this so it can open and close smoothly. And two, it's going to help keep the moisture off it. The reason why stuff seizes up is when iron rusts, it'll grow and it'll expand, and that's where you get seizes inside here. So it's going to happen over time eventually. That just kind of helps out, keeps the moisture out of there. And no, you don't have to worry about the grease falling in there, because if any grease does come out, which I put very little, but if it does, it's coming this way off the back end, away from your grill and where your cooking surface is. So doesn't take much, just a little bit. All right, let me get those welded out. Alright, so we got the doors welded out. So now I'm going to go ahead and I like putting these because one, it helps cover your gaps. And two, it kind of helps keep the smoke in, because if you leave gaps like this, smoke is just going to come out from everywhere. So this kind of helps out. It just looks a lot better. So I already went through, I made my line, my layout where these are going to sit. This is just 1 inch flat bar, 1/8 thick. Measured from the edge, made my mark. Same thing, measured from this way back, made my mark. Leveled that line off. And same thing here. Measured, made my line. So what I do is I go through and I tack this here. Right, I'll tack all 4 of them like that. I'll tack this one about right here in that corner. I'll tack it. Tack all 4 of them up. Then I come back with the torch and I heat it right here where this lines up. I'll heat this line right here and then bend it down. And as I'm going, I'm putting tacks as I'm going. Tack right on the line on your layout. Tack, and I just keep going. Sometimes it helps to heat it up and hit it. Do not hit it with a heavy hammer. Don't. Because all you're going to do is dent it, because it's going to be hot, it's malleable. You're just going to put a bunch of dents in it. Get you a rubber mallet that you can hit it down. You don't have to worry about it making any marks or dents in here, because then if you do, you're going to have to go back and grind it out, smooth it out. It just doesn't look right. Use a rubber mallet. It'll come out a lot better. So that's what I'm going to work on right now. I'm going to come through, put these in, and we'll be back in a little bit. bit of an update. I fell a little bit behind because I got caught up some other stuff I had to take care of, and it was getting close to the date that I had set in the beginning that I wanted it to be completed. So I didn't get to film everything that I wanted to film, but at least now I'm going to start painting it. I already buffed it all, already looked it over, fixed all my pickups, I already wiped it down with acetone. I'm going to go ahead and paint it. Once it's painted, I'll add the extra custom pieces that are going to go on at the end, and you won't see those till the final reveal. Normally on a pit this size, I probably wouldn't usually put a counterweight, but talking with the foundation, it's going to be going to a veteran family. Now, what I didn't want is for it to go to a disabled veteran that has back problems or shoulder problems or any type of injuries like that they have to deal with already. That's a struggle. So I went ahead and put a counterweight on this so it'd be much easier for them to operate. Open and close the doors. But that's it. We're going to go ahead and paint it. Do the finishing touches. The epoxy boards will be done in the next week or so. So the next time you see, the next video will be the reveal of when we drop it off. So